We say what they can't radio.
What's up, world? Welcome to another episode of Young, Gifted, and Black. Tonight, I have some amazing guests. One of my friends that I just graduated with. We both just, pursued our master's degree, so shout out to her. And we have her friend and her PR, Nina, here tonight as well. So I want y'all to introduce yourself. Simone, go ahead. Tell them a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so my name is Simone Mouchette.
Yes.
I'm the founder and president of Resilient Young Minds. I
Beautiful.
just graduated
Yes, you
with my
did.
master's in social work,
Yes, we did.
but I also have a master's of arts in teaching and a bachelor of arts in psychology.
Dangerous.
Currently, I'm a high school educator, and I also am a part-time family therapist.
Okay.
Okay, my name is
What's up,
Nina Westmoreland. I am a paralegal for a nonprofit organization, the Legal Aid Society. I guess a little bit more background. I attended Virginia Union University.
Mm-hmm.
I have my BA in mass communications and I have an MBA in, the concentration is in marketing.
Okay, that's
Yes.
beautiful.
Yes.
So we
Thank you.
got like a whole. This is the epitome of Young, Gifted, and Black. Like this is what I thought it would look like when I wanted to start a podcast, right? So every month I look to not just my friends, not just people I know. I look to find people of value to their communities. Find people that are are putting together a plan or have a mindset that they want to, make the world a better place than what it was before they got into it. And Simone is one of those people. I know you are as well.
Yes.
But I've gotten to know Simone this year, and I think if you're depending upon who you're in school with, you either hate their guts or you love them. You know what I'm saying? And I say that I would love Simone, and I love the person that she is because of, for one, she's very intelligent. It would be times where she inspired me to like want to go rechange my presentation up, or I was looking at her presentation like, nah, like I gotta go back home and make some changes. And I just saw the strength in her. And as we got to know each other, she told me about her company, like Resilient Young Minds. So actually one day, one of her mentees was sitting in class next to me. And I was like, what's this kid doing in class with us? And she told me about her program. And a year later, after we graduated now, I want her to talk a little bit about it because I think it's so great that she decided to start something like this and use her time and her resources to give back. So tell me a little bit about what inspired you to, let's go back. Matter of fact, let's talk about, you got your master's in social work, right? So for us to go to school and get our master's in social work, that means that we had to have went through something, like we have to be a particular type of individual because nobody's just signing up to just be social workers unless you really want to change the world. So what inspired you, or what took place in your life that led to you want to service or be I call that a light worker? Like what inspired you to want to be that entity?
Okay, well, thank you for that beautiful introduction. I'm glad I inspired you.
Absolutely.
I would say that I always knew I wanted to work with kids. That was always a passion of mine. I went from pediatrician to all other types of stuff, school psychologist. And to be honest, when I was in high school specifically, I struggled with a lot of mental health issues. But at the time, we weren't calling it mental health issues. It was just like, girl, you crazy. What are you doing? I had a lot of insecurity problems. Saw a lot of attention. My father wasn't really present in my life during my high school times. And I, engaged in a lot of self-injurious behaviors, suicidal ideations. And I'll never forget, I think I was in 11th grade, and I got sent to the counseling office for something that I wrote because I'm very expressive through writing. And one of my teachers felt concerned. And I'm sitting in the office waiting, and another kid comes in the counselor's office, and they're yelling at the kid, and the counselor is just like, send him to this other school because he's bad for our statistics. And like right there, a light bulb switch. It went from, I feel sorry for myself, I don't want to be here, to, you know what, I know what I'm here for. I'm here for the kids that are just like me. And I'm going to be that teacher. I'm going to be that counselor. I'm going to be that person that they could come to when they're feeling the way that they're feeling to address those issues. So that brought me to psychology. I went to university at Albany, UA. And I pursued my bachelor's degree in psychology. While I was there, I founded an after-school program called the World Within Reach After School Program at Albany High School. And I kind of, at that time, my focus was working on girls and building girls up. And that was kind of like the first time I thought about social work. But, you tell your mom, who you basically grow up in poverty, and you tell them you want to be a social worker after you're about to finish college, which costs a lot of money. And the response I got, like, you don't want to be a social worker. They don't make no money. They don't do this. You're going to be broke. So they discouraged me. So my mom still wanted to guide me. She didn't want to, kill all my dreams. So she was like, you're doing this thing with the kids in the school. Why don't you be a principal? Okay. Lo and behold, in order to be a principal, you have to be a teacher, which is the one job I knew I never wanted to do. However, that's what I ended up pursuing. I did AmeriCorps teaching fellowship. I taught in the Bronx for 2 years. And during my time in the Bronx, this is the South Bronx. 11% of the young people are in transitional housing. And we're talking about Latino and Black students. Gang life is prevalent. Preteen pregnancy, not even teen pregnancy. We're talking about preteen pregnancy. We have police officers arresting these young people out of the building for assault and things of that nature. It was a very rough place to be, but I loved it. And what made me thrive was working with my students and getting to know them and building relationships with them. That helped me help them learn. And one young lady, I'll never forget her. I remember she wanted to shove a marker down this boy's throat one day. She was like really upset and aggressive, but her attitude was also shifted. Sat her down, had a parent meeting, came to find out her mom had stage 4 brain cancer. And every time we called home to complain about her behavior, the family would blame her for mom getting sick or being more sick. So that really hit me because I thought of like, these young people are going through stuff. And we're judging them based off their behaviors and things like that, but we're not addressing the real issue, that socio-emotional piece, that mental health piece. And after that experience, I knew, okay, I'm going back to school and do social work. I don't care about this money thing. I'm going to make my own money. Like, there is money in social work. I'm going to find it, but this is where my place is, because as an educator, you're limited. There are boundaries. And I found myself crossing those boundaries and being shut back down. Like, no, you're a teacher. You're not a social worker. You're a teacher. You're not a social worker. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to go and be a social worker then. And that's how I ended up pursuing my master's in social work.
Okay, so I can see how that's correlated into how you wanted to start Resilient Young Minds and where your motivation came from. So tell people you do the PR for Resilient Young Minds, right? We're going to get back to, because that was why you got inspired. You still got to tell me about why you actually created Resilient Young Minds. But in that interim, I want you to tell me a little bit about what made you connect with Simone and what made you want to be a part of this journey with her.
Okay, well, I always say Simone came at the right time in my life. We're sorority sisters. We're part of a sorority called Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated.
Dope.
And that's how we met. We met at an event we're having based. That's funny you said this. It was a mental health first aid certification course, and we met. We connected really well. She was like, "Hey, Sora, let me get your contact." Cool. She was like, "I'm having a brunch." I'm like, "All right, cool. I like brunches. I ain't doing nothing." Okay. So I went to the brunch, and then it's basically an intro to her organization. I was like, wow, I was thinking about getting back into the community, and look how the universe set that up.
Yes.
So here I am.
And what role do you play in Resilient Young Minds?
I am currently a mentor, and I'm the PR/marketing chairperson.
Okay. What does PR mean for people that don't know that?
Public relations.
Dope. Okay. And let me see. What do you see yourself? What as a mentor? What inspired you to be a mentor? There we go. That was the question.
I never had a mentor, so I know how it feels to be lost in the world, just kind of doing your own thing, and that support you need. I don't care if it's professional, social.
Agreed.
You need that support outside of your family, because sometimes you can't talk to your family. Like,
No.
They're your family, but they don't understand you. So
Yeah.
a person who's an outsider, who's willing to be there, willing to help you, that's the support I wanted to provide to someone else.
Yes, that's beautiful.
Yes.
Because I had a few great mentors in my life, and that's kind of what inspired me to want to be a mentor, because of the mentors that I came across when I was in camp, or the ones that told me that I need to learn how to swim, or I need to learn how to fight, or whatever the case may be for me to make it in this particular environment. It's really particular in Brooklyn and New York, so you have to have a certain type of mindset to thrive and make it here. And I had the right type of people to give me a little bit of street smarts, and then I had my family and some great teachers and professors to give me, the educational part, or they give you the tools. You got to add the education to yourself. But I understand that if it wasn't for those people, that I wouldn't be sitting here with you.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't be saying that me and my friend just graduated with our masters. I wouldn't be talking to you or saying I wouldn't have been able to invite y'all to my own podcast, because based on being a person of color, there's so many loopholes, there's so many different traps, and if you're not willing to stay on course, this environment can really push you into, the judicial system, dying early, it could be a variety of different negative things. So I'm glad I had those mentors, and I felt obliged to make sure that I wanted to be one. So that goes back to the next question of why you started Resilient Young Minds. Like, we understand it. I understand, but I want you to tell the viewers a little bit more about what made you do it, though.
I'm gonna be 100% honest. I knew I always wanted to have a nonprofit, but I didn't know what it was gonna be or how it was gonna look. And I was dating someone, and he had the same vision. Like, oh, I want to open a nonprofit. Oh, kindred spirits. So let's start a nonprofit together. And we did. And I realized that I was doing all the work. There was a part of me that was insecure. Like, I knew I wanted to do it, but I didn't believe that I could actually do it.
Understand.
And so that experience made me see, like, you're really running this. He's not doing much. Like, you're the brains behind. He's the face, but you're the brains behind. And I realized that being someone's shadow wasn't the place for me.
No.
When, I saw when he was getting a lot of recognition and everything like that. Not to say I'm doing it for fame, but it's like when you see a person not doing the same work or not creating, not, doing the things that you're doing to make it get to the place that it needs to be, and they get all the credit and you don't get none.
It's a little frustrating.
It's frustrating. So I took, the noble way out, and I resigned.
Okay.
And I was like, you know what? This is not for me. You could keep it. Whatever we worked on, you have it. It's yours. You run it. I set you up. I'm out. And I did that. And in that,
Walked away. One door opens, another one.
Right.
One door closes, another one opens.
Right.
Yeah.
So I too had several mentors. That's what really saved me. The mentors came when I went to college. The mentors came when I applied for several professional development opportunities. That's when the mentors came. So I had a mentor to teach me how to kill an interview. I had a mentor to teach me how to come back from failing, a grade or a class. I had a mentor to teach me how to network. I had a mentor to teach me how to do an elevator pitch. Not once did I have a mentor to teach me how to deal with my depression. Not once did I have a mentor to teach me how to create a balanced lifestyle, how to create normal social relationships with people, how to trust people, how to make real connections, lifelong connections with people beyond the professional setting.
So basically, somebody that can help you construct a positive mental health or a healthy mental health construct.
Exactly. So as I got older, my mental health was never addressed. And I kind of used work, professionalism, and all these other programs, volunteer work, all of this stuff, school, as my coping skill. And yet my personal life and my mental health is never addressed. And I kind of had to come to a realization, you know what? I see my students every day going through things. And yet no one is stepping up to coach them on how to overcome these things. Some of them going through the same things I went through. Like, I'm seeing it, because now I'm in a high school. Before, when I was in the Bronx, I was at the middle school level. high school level, it's like totally different. It's
Yeah.
very intensified, and the parental involvement is a lot less. So I'm seeing my students come to me with their issues, feeling comfortable to talk to me.
Yes.
And I'll never forget it. One day, one of my students, she's actually a mentee in our program, actually Nina's mentee. She came to me one day distressed. And I'm just like, okay, I'm writing my paper because I'm still in grad school at this point. I stopped what I'm doing. All right, what's going on? And she's talking to me, telling me what's going on. I'm talking back to her. And then finally, she leaves. And then at the end of the school year, we have this like little circle because I have a girls group. She was a part of it. And like we do this activity called fill someone's bucket. Fill a bucket. And someone goes in the middle of the circle. And everyone outside of the circle goes around and says something positive about the person in the middle of the circle.
I like that.
So, of course, they want to throw me in the middle of the circle at the end, right? And one of the things that came out her mouth that, like, broke my heart but, like, overjoyed me was that she was like, you saved my life. I wanted to kill myself that day. I came into your room and you stopped everything you were doing just to talk to me.
Yes, Ayanla.
So that was like, yo, I'm going hard. Because at the time I was kind of thinking about rhyme, but I wasn't really confident. After that, I was like, I have to do it. Because there's a part of me that's very insecure that I feel that, what am I, like, who am I? Like, what can I do? And then there's that reality side when you see, when I open my mouth to speak, the people that are impacted are inspired by it. And that's something that I can't ignore. I can no longer ignore what my purpose is. I need to step up. And so that's what we did. And so far, we're doing great. We have a gala coming up in 2 weeks.
Yes, I'll be there.
You know, thank you for your support.
Yes.
Tickets are still on sale until the end of this week. But yeah, I'm excited for another year. I'm actually excited that you're on board as a mentor because we need more male involvement. As you can see, I and Nina are sitting here, but it's a co-ed organization, and it's interesting because a lot of my male friends complain about how there's not enough male programming. Like they do a lot of stuff for females. Like today, I was on a panel for a female empowerment conference for 6th graders. And I thought that was interesting. Like, dang, we should do a male empowerment. But I'm not a male. How is it going to look, me being the face of a male empowerment conference? Where are all the males? Because y'all go through things, too.
I mean, that transitions into the next question. Do you feel that mental health is an epidemic right now?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay. You feel that way as well,
Absolutely,
Nina?
yes.
I feel that way. And that's kind of why, that's one of the reasons why I went to school to get my master's in social work, because I know I'm going to get money as well. That's why I have a business. That's what investing is for. That's what making smart decisions is for. Why I went to school wasn't necessarily for me to be able to get a career or get a better job. It was for me to network, to meet people like, you know, Simone, for me to connect with other friends that are changing the world and want to play their part. And in doing so, you get to see, you know, the facts, because a lot of people, they give their opinions on things that they only have a little bit of information on. And see, we have to go that extra mile. You know what I'm saying? In order for you to get your master's of social work, you have to show them that you understand somebody on the mental, physical, and the spiritual level, because you could have all the mind stuff right, and you could be saying all the right words, but the person just don't feel your vibe, so they just start lying to you. So you get all the wrong information, so you end up giving the person the wrong information, and they don't get the help they need, right?
Yeah.
So you have to build the rapport, but at the same time, you have to have the information to be able to decipher what you need to do to put them in the best possible position. That's why I love social work, because true social work is not me doing it for you. True social work is me giving you the tools so you could do it for yourself.
Yes.
And what do people of color need right now? We need to understand that mindset that we have the tools.
Right.
Yes.
See, we've been put in that mindset that we gotta pray, give away our accountability, and somebody's gonna come save us. But if that story was true, then we wouldn't have had all of these years and all of these atrocities. We wouldn't have had all of these negative things. I'm quite sure them people that came in boats and all the people that had died and got hung and got murdered, I'm quite sure that they was praying to somebody.
Yeah.
But nobody came, no hands came, right?
Yeah.
Because the universe and the creator that I pray to, the Most High, I connect with, right, gave us all the tools needed. So the universe and the Most High is looking at us like, what are you going to do with the tools? And the human race, for some reason, we have not necessarily showed the universe that we know what to do with the divine power that the universe has given us, right? Particularly people of color. But it's a flip side to that coin, because a lot of our people have been put to sleep in like some type of slumber. A lot of this mental epidemic that we talk about has been created. A lot of this trauma is being perpetuated through YouTube, through Instagram.
Yes.
Like, you can't put in, yo, I want to see a white person get shot by the police, and it pop up in 5 seconds. But I bet you right now, if I go to YouTube and be like, I want to see a black person get shot by the police, I could watch the whole thing.
Yeah.
And for a person that's a social worker, we understand the trauma and the how you say, what's the
PTSD.
Like, if I'm sitting here as a person of color that I'm dealing with 500 years of trauma, I know that my people that look just like me are getting murdered and killed in the streets. And I go to YouTube and I see somebody get killed in the streets. What do you think that does to my psyche?
Yeah.
The trickier part to that, because we can't really get into that, is Napoleon Hill touched based on what happens when your thoughts go from conscious to subconscious. See, conscious, you could be thinking about jumping off the roof. You could be thinking about losing your phone. It's cool. But when it go to the subconscious, it has to be manifested. That's how Think and Grow Rich sold 1 million copies, because he's showing you how to manifest the reality. So let's take that negative reality, and let's say I consistently watch videos of young men being shot by the police. What happens if that thought goes to the unconscious? So what happens when I get pulled over by the police?
Yeah.
Ooh, I might make the wrong move. I might say the wrong thing because I thought I was prepared. But nope, I'm scared now. So I make a different reaction and end up what? Because we create our own reality. So I believe, and I feel like I'm talking a lot, I understand through research and understanding, or through research and knowledge, that we're in the predicaments that we're in because we're not controlling our realities and we're not learning how to control our thoughts. What do you say to that? There was no short way for me to get into it.
Simone, you can start.
I agree with you 100%. I think controlling your thoughts is the key to it all. Who's teaching us how to do that?
Not a lot of people.
Right. And that's where Resilient Young Minds comes in, is helping young people how to control their thoughts.
That was a good leeway, though.
Right.
Oh, man.
Because what you're saying is 100%. I'm struggling with the content. Our soror, Sandra Bland.
Yeah.
You know, I went to the conference. I heard from her family directly, saw the videos. Then the documentary came out, and I was trying to be a good soror and watch the whole thing. I couldn't, because I couldn't handle it. When They See Us is now out. I saw the first part. I told my mom I'm not watching it anymore. Those things are important to put out to the media because the privileged need to see it. The people that are still blind to what's happening need to see it. I don't need to see it because I already know it exists. Right? I see it every day. We deal with it every day. My heart drops every time a cop drives by because I don't know if he's going to pull me over. I don't know. Did I do something wrong? Did I indicate? Because it's one thing when you hear it happen to other people. When you hear it happens to your soror, it's like, whoa.
Yes.
It could definitely happen to me. She didn't indicate. That's all
no.
she didn't do.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. And do you want to, before I go in, do you want to touch base a little bit on that?
No, you guys did everything.
I think that it's very tricky, right? Because you say, like, for the privileged, like, they need to see this, right? But I think for people of color, right, I think that frequency of us constantly seeing the negative things that happen to our race, I think that kind of like traps us. Because you got to understand something. If 90% of men and women of color don't understand how powerful their minds and spirits are, and they're taking in all of this negative information, it's not necessarily helping them. You know, because helping them would mean that information will put them in the best possible position. But if they don't have the grid and they can't stop the negative thoughts from going to conscious to subconscious, that means that they're more likely to put themselves in that same possible predicament.
True.
So that means that we have to learn how to control our mind. See, for people of color, it's two things I think that we're missing. We're missing unconditional love. There's three things. We're missing unconditional love. We're missing learning how to control our thoughts. And we're not realizing who we are, but that's by design. This is by design. Like, it's so many different things that's happened to our race, but still we here.
Yeah.
I call this show Young, Gifted, and Black. All the things that happen to our race, you still got a bunch of strong black people. I'm talking about the people that own the show that I'm on, the people that's facilitating, the engineer. We
Yes.
showing that we are young, gifted, and black. Nina Simone, it's straight off the press. No matter the adversity, no other race would be able to deal with the amount of trauma and negativity that has been brought onto our race. I think they would have been abolished. Be honest with you, we are still the only race that we stand tall through the adversity.
Yes.
Right.
We look at it gets a lot of us, but then it's like witches and when like the more people you have in your covenant, the more powerful you get,
Yes.
right? So I think that our people. And I hate to separate it, but I only could talk about people of color because I know us the best. I think that our people need to get back into controlling their own realities. And we have been taught by design that we don't need to control our realities and that some type of divine entity is going to come in and save us. So we just should continue to pray to those entities. But that's why we're in the current predicaments that we're in. And how we fix one of the problems that we just talk about, mental health, is that first we have to even identify that we have the problem.
Yes.
Yep.
Because a lot of people don't even like talking about it.
You're right.
I am able to have this understanding because I was diagnosed with ADD or ADHD, attention deficit disorder. And then my grandparents was like, yo, you need to go to therapy at like 5. And then that perspective, even though I didn't know it then, it started to teach me how to think things out. So before you could present something to me growing, as I started to mature, you couldn't present something to me without me thinking it out. Like, yo, we about to go do this. Come on. Like, whoa, what do you mean we about to go do this? Come on. Like, let me break this down.
Right,
that
right.
doesn't even make sense. Like, I'm going home. You know what I mean? So
Right.
this is how I've been able to succeed and make it. So, but somebody gave me that construct. And this is why resilient young minds is so important. Because
Yes.
I didn't just create this. I didn't just become me. I had grandparents. I had an aunt. I had certain mentors that was like, yo, here's this skill set. Here's this skill set. Here's this skill set. Mr. Feeny me. Like, yo, you full of SHIT. Like, yo, you think you going to just talk your way out of everything, right? Like, you're going to really have to prove something. You're going to have to bring that to the table. I'm sitting there like, damn, yo, this guy is really. But at the end of the day, I was really just trying to bullshit and just trying to finagle my way through life. Ain't no shortcuts though. No. So, okay. So if mental health is a major epidemic right now, what is resilient young minds doing for the youth to help, fix that problem?
Well, I guess with my experience with my mentee, I challenge her to be more social. Just put her in those uncomfortable situations so she can grow from them, so she can get used to it. I read a book called The Hollywood 10 Commandments by Devon Franklin.
Oh, okay.
And he was saying when you're uncomfortable, that means like you're doing something right. That means you're in the right setting. You're supposed to be in that moment. So that's what I try to do with my mentee. Like she has like issues with being social. So I was like, you know what, just go to the party. I was like, I don't care if it's just for 15 minutes. You're there. You might see a friend or two. You might stay longer. But if really uncomfortable, just go ahead and leave. But the fact that you went, even though you were uncomfortable, shows progress. And then the next time you go, you might stay for 30 minutes.
Absolutely.
The next time, 45 minutes. So you get what I'm saying. That's what
I agree.
That's like a really good snippet of an anecdotal of a personal experience. From a structural perspective, we teach resilience on 3 levels, right? So first of all, professional is always important. I talked about that. I have professional mentors. Professional resilience is very important, right? We need to teach the young people how to get their coin and continue to thrive, right? Then we teach resilience on a personal level. That's where we're addressing the trauma. We're acknowledging that it happened, acknowledging our feelings about how it happened. We're acknowledging how that impacted our behaviors and how we interact with other people, but really ourselves, how we view ourselves as a result of the trauma. And then what coping skills do we already have? Because sometimes our young people have coping skills but don't realize they're coping skills, and sometimes they have negative coping skills, and we want to transfer that into positive ones. So we expose them to positive coping skills. And then the last thing that we do is do social resilience, because at the end of the day, people say like, yeah, I'm good all by myself. I can do it. I'm strong. I'm independent. No, we need people. We're humans. It's human nature to want to be around people. And when you have people around you, it's a support system. So that when you fall, you have somebody to help pick you back up, and provide you that guidance or just a listening ear. Because sometimes a listening ear could be the difference between life or death.
Absolutely.
Sometimes it's young people or even adults. We internalize things, we hold it down. No one cares about my problems. No one cares about me. Nobody wants to listen. No one's going to believe me. They're going to think I'm lame. They're going to think I'm day room, whatever the terminology is nowadays, right? And sometimes just getting it off your chest is therapeutic, is a reliever. So those are the 3 ways that we address it. And then we do that through I would say a program within our organization called Yes Academy. And Yes Academy stands for Youth Empowerment Seminars.
Dope.
So the first one that we address is personal resilience. We have a retreat. We go upstate in the boonies, no service, deers, all that, and just focus on building up ourselves. And we leave our traumas in the woods. And we come back. Then they'll be paired with a mentor who's also experienced something traumatic that have overcome it, because all my mentors are successful young Black people for the most part, and they've been through it and I deem them resilient because they overcame it, right? And so I personally pair them with someone that I feel would benefit that young person.
Absolutely.
And they're required to spend 10 hours a month with that person. And then once a month we get together and we either bond or there's a workshop. So the next workshop will be professional resilience. Then we'll bond again. We'll have a holiday party, whatever. January we bond some more, and then we have our social resilience. And each workshop, those are the umbrellas. But what we actually cover in the workshop is tailored to the cohort. So like our last workshop was very tailored to the cohort. We had an issue with social media. They were putting their lives at risk by recklessly posting things on social media. Like young people were assaulted, all that. So the social resilience workshop was disempowering social media. We need to teach them how to use social media in a responsible manner. No, it's not 100% bad, but the way you're using it is bad.
Yeah.
And this is how you're supposed to use it. And a lot of them were really just expressing their feelings or negative feelings they had about something or someone and posting it. And we talked about prioritizing the people in your lives, family, friends, associates. Where do they fall? If they fall under family, how should you address family when family done you wrong? Face to face. Okay. Friends, how do you address that? Oh, face to face. Associates, are they really that important? Not really. So if they're not that important, we're not addressing them face to face, so then we definitely shouldn't be addressing them on social media. So those are the structure of how we're trying to address the mental health.
This sounds like a beautiful program. It sounds like these kids. No, it doesn't sound. This is a beautiful program, and it makes me think back to when I was younger. It wasn't as intense, and it didn't have as many layers. But I used to go to this camp called Carmel, and it was also upstate, and it was like initiative through Pfizer. When I was going through this, my school was PS35 right here on McDonough and Lewis, and we would go away for 2 to 3 weeks, and we would get to know each other. Like we would have to learn how to swim, we have to go camping, we have to eat together. We eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Like people I hated their guts in school. 3-4 days into that, like you was talking about something, you was connecting about something. I had to face my fears. Like I had the pink band, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I wanted the orange band. That means I had to teach myself how to swim. Okay. I had to face my fears of jumping into a lake. You know what I mean? So like these things stuck with me to this day. My friends that I went to camp with, I'm cool with to this day. So programs like this, it changed the trajectory of our young people, and it takes me back to thinking about just in order for you to control your mental health, you have to understand the different variations of it. Like Simone was just talking about, how to deal with grief, how to deal with, adversity, how to deal with when you let yourself down. Like it's certain ways that you have to react. That's why yoga and meditation and family is so important. And it takes me back to since we're talking about social issues and we're talking about, excuse me, we're talking about social issues and we're talking about, I just lost my train of thought. Social issues and we're talking about, somebody help me. What were we just talking about? Social issues. Young people and the mental health epidemic. There we go. It came back. And in the mental health epidemic, our young people have to learn how to control their thoughts, have to control their realities. They have to learn how to deal with grief, how to not necessarily go for a drink or smoke or turn to drugs or even turn to something like you said, how the social media workshop ended up working against those kids or ended up working against anybody that was connecting with them. A lot of the times our young people go through situations and they don't know how to deal with it.
Yes.
So that leads to them, they're already on the road to having a mental illness because without the right help, it's gonna manifest, it's gonna evolve. So how do we get to them? That's the type of social worker I want to be. I don't want to be the social worker that consistently just keep helping kids that have trauma, that are already fell over and messed up, and now we got to get them back on track. How about we find some kids and we give them the tools and the know-how so that they don't never fall off track? And if they do fall off track, they have the understanding and the mental forbearance how to get back on track. Because you can't tell us that none of us ain't fall off track. I fell off track a few times, but this is where the mentors and the family members and the support system came in to push me forward.
Right.
Okay. So my next question is, how important do you think, because I think that in the 50s and the 60s, like that movie Hidden Figures, right? It showed how strong women of color were and how they really put together the science and the mathematics for us to actually go into the moon, right? And if you look at where we were at as people of color at that time, yo, we was on some different stuff. We was like, yo, we about to push forward. You know, it don't matter if Jim Crow is still in place. Yo, we gonna push forward in all aspects, whether it be Congress, colleges, masters, PhDs. We was pushing the limits. And then all of a sudden, the war on drugs came. They killed Martin. They killed Malcolm. Like all of these different things started to happen that kind of pushed us back into this hole and made our people fearful. So all of these negative thoughts, you know, it leads to generations upon generations of people not doing anything. People just having ideas like, yo, like it would be nice if I came up with a community center or did something in the community, but ain't gonna work out. I don't have the time for that. A lot of our young people, a lot of people in general now have problems with how the world is. But when you be like, yo, do you have 3 to 7 hours to mentor per week? Oh my God, I'm doing overtime. I don't have the time. So why are you complaining about what's going on? You see, we got to stop complaining and we got to start giving more action.
Right.
We got to stop complaining and we got to start actually going out there and creating, starting our own businesses and giving back. I find for our people, for people of color, maybe I'm off, maybe I'm wrong, maybe some people might not agree, but I find that we are willing to work diligently. We are willing to work 120% for other people. But when it's time for us to work like that for ourselves, we just lack the motivation. I'm tired, yo. I've been working all week. Like I don't got the time right now. But you got the time when you working for somebody else.
Yes.
Like let's call it. The reality is, if you're not running, if you're not controlling your ship, and you're not the head of your position, even if you're the head of your position, you're still under somebody else. You understand what I'm saying? So, which is nothing wrong with, because there's people out here playing their part. If it wasn't for certain professors and teachers and firemen and certain individuals, the world wouldn't be the world wouldn't be moving, or we wouldn't be existing. So we need certain people to work and to have careers, but we also need more entrepreneurs because we need more people of color to be able to take control over their reality. Because we have been also pushed in to be a demographic of consumers.
I think also we also moved away from the village mindset. So I think a lot of the fear of becoming an entrepreneur or becoming a Black entrepreneur is where's the support. Let's be honest, Black people do not support Black people, right? It's very far and few between on a grand scale. We may come together for a moment. We say we're coming together for a movement, but then it's really a moment, because where's the consistency? There's so many moments in just in the last couple of years where we've protested, where we say we're not going to do this, we're not going to do that. I remember I went to the Million Man March in, 2015? I went there. We were supposed to be, it was tons and tons of people. I was like, oh, this must be how the March on Washington looked. Mm-hmm. And the goal was to leave there and only support Black businesses. How long did that last? We watched a video of an Asian woman beating up on a Black woman in a nail salon, and we said, we're only going to support Black nail salons, right? So when we realized there weren't many Black nail salons around, did we start opening Black nail salons? No. We just gave up and went back to the Asian people. You understand? Like, so there's this mindset around Black people don't support Black people, and it's that cycle that continues. How do we break that cycle?
Okay. I think that we break that cycle by first saying that that's a mindset. So, like, I was on a debate team and I did pretty well on the debate team, and like they give you a certain amount of time to say your point of view, right? But like you have to be able to back that point of view up, right? And if they could find if they could find a crack in that, it's not because in order for it to be objective, it has to be objective for everybody, right? Mm-hmm. And if that was the case, then you wouldn't be here. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like if Black people didn't support Black people, you wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be having this podcast, right? So that would be a faulty premise right there, because Black people do support Black people on a micro, meso, and macro level. For one, it's not shown. For two, the mass majority of our race has been strategically taught not to do these things. Yes. So I want people to understand that it's a condition, no different from somebody that can't stop smoking cigarettes, somebody that saw abuse their whole life and they can't seem to stop hitting their wife, or their wife can't seem to stop hitting their husband. Somebody that's just been around a lot of negative things and they keep doing negative things. It's conditioned. It's like institutional. It's like being institutionalized, right? So like if you get conditioned a certain way, how did it go? Before the Civil Rights Bill got passed, right? It was nothing but Black-owned businesses. We were supporting each other. The Black dollar was touching. We was doing what we had to do because we had no other choice. Then the trick was like, oh, that's what Martin was like. Oh my God, yo, I just walked my people into a burning building. You know what he was saying? Because the goal was never for us to fit in this way. Yes, I should be able to connect and respect and love white people or any human being. But at the end of the day, we need to be able to take care of ourselves as well. We need to be able to take care of our communities. And Malcolm X said it like, let's go to an Asian or a Chinese community right now. Let's count how many soul food restaurants they got. Let's go and see how many Black boutiques they got or Black-owned businesses they got within those particular communities. There's far in between, right? But they're not racist. They just gonna tell you like, we doing what this is what the community holds. Like we're giving business, we're giving back to people that live in this community. What you want us to do? But you go to people of color communities, it's Chinese restaurants, it's liquor stores, it's chicken spots, it's all of these businesses from people that don't even live in New York City. They from England or London, and they just moved here because it's a new hot thing. I heard Brooklyn was a new hot thing, so I just bought a brownstone here. Right. When are we going to take back control over our reality?
Once we get over our fear.
It's deeper than getting over our fear, because the new illiterate of the 21st century are no longer people that can't read or write. It's people that can't unlearn. It's people that can't learn and unlearn. Yeah. So if our people don't learn to unlearn all the habits that has put us in this oppressive position, we will always be oppressed.
Yeah, you
see, because people of color are spending trillions of dollars. So let's not misconstrue this like the money ain't there. The money is available for us to change schools up, for us to employ each other, for us to take care of each other. It's available, but it takes intention and redirection.
I agree with that. Yes. I think the intention in our approach and my personal approach, I'm gonna be 100. The older generations, we have to let them go. We cannot take grown people that live through how many years of life, 40, 50, 60 years of life, and try to get them to unlearn everything that they've learned. But what we can do is the young ones that are coming up, the new generations, we can teach them. Because right now, our generation is the one that's making the shift. There are way more of us that are woke. There are way more of us that are educated. There were more of us that are empowered because I feel like we're the last generation that are still connected to those roots, that are still connected to the civil rights movement, that are still connected to slavery. I took some of my mentees to see Hidden Figures. You brought that up. And they were asking me, like, why were the white people being so mean? Mind you, these are 16 and 17-year-olds because in schools, they're not teaching those things. Last week, I had a conversation with my students who are in an intervention class, which means that they are reading below grade level. So you talk about people still not knowing how to read. We still have young people in the New York City Board of Education that are in high school and cannot read. That's my primary responsibility, is to bring them up to grade level. And I had to have a very real conversation with them about their skin color and what it means to not be able to read on grade level for them. What it means to code switch, what it means to be political, what it means to go outside and let them know, like, you know what, it's not fair what I'm about to tell you, but this is your reality. You can't be acting a fool and not paying attention to your surroundings because, unfortunately, you're not privileged based off your skin color to be afforded the luxury to be a free spirit in the street. You need to be aware. You need to understand when it's okay to be comfortable and when it's okay to straighten up, because at the end of the day, your safety is at risk.
Here's the thing, right? I agree with everything that you're saying, and I think that go back into the beginning of this conversation. It all starts with a thought. Mm-hmm. When you said that, when you started off, like when you were growing up, you had situations where you thought about killing yourself, where you thought about things was just going wrong, and then one day you in the office and you hear some kid say something and then change it. So it was a thought. That same thought that you was thinking about killing yourself turned into you thinking about saving lives and inspiring and doing other things. I think that for people of color, we get so caught up because they want this oppressive system wants us to not know that our thoughts create our realities. And I think that we get so caught up in forgetting that we think that for you to maintain your safety, it has something to do with your posture, or it has something to do with what you say out your mouth. But that's not the case, because I could pull up a YouTube video of a bunch of black men that was doing everything right and they still got murdered. What you need to do to control your reality is you need to control your thoughts. I say this again. You need to control what comes out of your mouth. You need to control the TV shows that you watch. You need to control the people that you hang around. You need to control screaming, saying negative things about yourself, about the people around you. Focus on the positive things. Focus on what's working.
So I charge you. A lot of things that you're saying is you. When we're in a space with our peers and each other, it's always a space of judgment. You need to do this. Who's teaching?
Yeah. No.
How do you do that?
I agree.
How?
We're teaching, and when I say you, is an individual. It starts with the individual. It starts with you. Nobody inspired you to, you got the encouragement. Somebody put some certain energies in front of you where you did something with them, but you decided to make the initiative to do something. So it is for us. It's for unity. It's for us to come together and do something. But it also goes back into, you have to have the intention to take the first step. So you got to be able to look yourself in the mirror and say, I need to make a move. You got to look yourself in the mirror like, I need to support black-owned businesses. You got to look in the mirror and say, I need to get my credit together. I'm going to find 3-4 people. We're going to start opening up businesses within our community. Because I don't feel bad no more about gentrification. Because I remember 20 years ago, 30 years ago, you couldn't walk through certain blocks. You couldn't do certain things here. We could have been brought this back up. We could have been did something with our community. But then again, it goes with the thought. Do we want to front? Do we want to keep buying Jordans and Gucci's and spending our money on liquor and just frivolous things? Or are we going to actually do something? Oh, now everybody realize we lived in such a beautiful environment that we could have changed up and made look nice. Oh, now we realize it when you got to pay $3,000 just to pay rent. Now that's what you got to do monthly to live in this area.
Well, I'm going to call you out on it, Kirik, because you did apply to Resilient Young Minds. So I know some information about you now.
Okay.
And one of the things that I've been doing, especially in May, because Mental Health Awareness had just passed, and Nina shared with me a video by a woman, Shanti Das, who she has an initiative called Silence the Shame. And I took on kind of not a burden, but that challenge to like continue the signs to shame. So last year I was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder, right? And I think that me now talking about it, we have to show not just young people, but our peers, the negatives, like we need to get rid of the negative stigma. So it's about role models, right? So we looking at rappers, all these people talking about getting lit and all this partying, all this stuff. These are the things that the kids look up to. Our kids really see Black people showing vulnerability. They really see Black people in their community that are successful and going through stuff. They really see Black people in our community to say, yo, look, I wanted to kill myself, but you know what? I overcame that and I came through, right? A lot of people, when they see me, they say, oh, wow, you're so great. You're so awesome. You have this, you have that. You have 3 degrees. But nobody knows what happened behind closed doors. Those thoughts of suicide didn't end that day when I thought I wanted to be. They continued, but I used that to fuel me. And the more that I stepped into helping people, those were my coping skills. Those refreshed me, renewed me, recharged me. So I think it's very, very important that if you're passionate about the change that you want to see, be that change and continue to voice it, because I think that your personal story should be told. Because I think I was like, wow, I would have never thought that. I was totally thrown back. And I'm just like, why are we not talking about this? Because the fact of the matter is, because of our internalized oppression, because of all the things that we went through as a Black people, first of all, as a community, we're traumatized. So as a community, we suffer from PTSD because of slavery, because of police brutality, because of all the things that we went through. So that's first. Then we have our individual personalized traumas, poverty, the things that we went through as a result of poverty, the things our parents had to do that they probably weren't proud of as a result of poverty. We have so many different levels of trauma that impact us on a day-to-day, but nobody want to talk about that. They just want to say that we strong and that's it and move forward. But at the end of the day, we're all human and we all feel things. We teach our men to be strong and ignore they can't have feelings. That's incorrect. We're all human beings. We all have feelings, and we need to start talking and acknowledging our feelings so that we can work through them and move forward.
I agree 100%, and I'm working toward. I'm about to be a father soon, and it makes me reflect. Thank you. Mm-hmm. It makes me reflect, on my life and the things that I've been through, and I use this show to talk about my guests and the things that they're doing. But of course, I've been through my personal adversity with growing up with my great grandmother and my grandfather, and not having my mother and my father in my life on a regular basis, or dealing with lupus, or dealing with just having to switch households, having to come from Queens to Brooklyn, or having to watch my grandparents pass away early, or being diagnosed with lupus or ADD or ADHD, or having all the negative stigmas that come with being a Black man, or and having to overcome those stigmas and make something of myself, and consistently just keep making something of myself. But the goal was to just, I write about it, I talk about it, and I guess that's why I'm in the position that I'm in. That's how we met in school, because we've been through what we've been through, and I think that it's a disservice to me. Sin is this: it's not you making a mistake or you doing something wrong. It's you having the knowledge that you made a mistake and having the knowledge that you could do something better and then not using that. Also, you have the abilities to change the world, to inspire, to uplift, but you hold it and you sit on it and you don't do nothing with it. That's sin. So I went through everything that I went through so that I would be able to, as I've done and as I do, when I come across these young people in the community, when I come across these young people in the high schools that I worked at, when I come across these young people in camps or the programs that I participated in, I'm able to give them back something. When they see me, they see them. Right. And they see that ain't no half-stepping. They see that I'm not bullshitting them. Right. I'm giving you my soul, my spirit. I'm letting you know that I made it through. I told the kids that when I resigned from Boys and Girls, but one of my best jobs in the world, being a role model in my community. And when I would talk to these kids, I would let them know, like, when you see me, see you. And if I
Right.
could do it, you could do it.
Absolutely.
And that's with
Right.
all the adversity. So, like you said, like don't misconstrue this. Don't think that I'm telling you all of this and I grew up in the Bill Cosby perspective or the Cosby Show perspective where, you know, everything was right. No. I just decided not to give up.
Right.
So we almost done. Like, what's a couple of words we can end with? You've been kind of quiet
Because you guys
Like,
been
you
saying all the
in
good
the back. I'm
stuff.
sorry.
Like,
But like, give me a little bit before we go. Like,
All right.
give me something that you want to share with the world. Maybe if you're mentee watching this right now, like, what message would you leave with the world right now?
okay, well, I guess for me, battling with depression for years, I must say that just keep going. Like, don't give up. Life is beautiful. Life is too short. Don't take away your life. Someone out there is going to appreciate you. Someone loves you. And also follow Rhyme, RYM_Inc. on IG and also on Facebook. You can also follow me, Nina, NINA_the_Ross. That's it.
Thank you so much for coming, Nina.
Thank you.
What would you like to share?
I kind of like have this on my spirit now that you said what you just said, your last thought. Everybody, I believe in God. I'm a Christian. Everybody was placed on this earth for a purpose. And it's actually last week, I remember in service, the First Lady gave a sermon and she was talking about how when you don't fulfill your purpose, you become useless. And being useless and neglectful of fulfilling your purpose is a sin. And once you become useless, then God, the world, the universe, whoever you don't believe in, will no longer find purpose for you, right? And that's what we talk about. You're heading towards destruction, whatever that destruction may be for you, right? So I just want to say to everyone, regardless of how you're feeling, whether it's depressed or whatever it is that you're going through, understand that you have a purpose. You were put here for a purpose, and let that purpose drive you to move forward and to keep going, because that's what drove me, my purpose.
Absolutely.
it.
Thank you for sharing. My last word would be is that, yes, I've been depressed before. I felt abandoned. I felt that people didn't care or people weren't in my corner. And I had to not take things personal. I had to understand that everybody goes through things at different times in their lives. I had to understand that God put me in the Most High put me in the best possible position to win. And that, honestly speaking, I watched this Will Smith video the other day, and Will Smith was talking to somebody on his feed, and the person was like, yo, I'm doing everything right and I'm still not succeeding yet. And Will Smith was like, well, one of the things that you could do is just stay on the journey. Stay on the journey and live your life. Get to know different people. Get to know different cultures and understand different parts of the way the world works. But he said at the end of the day, as human beings, like, your goal is to master and hone in on your craft, and then to share that craft, and to share your story, and to share what you are with the world. You know, it's an Egyptian proverb. It says that when you die, you know, the universe, the person that's standing in front of you asks two questions. It's like, have you done anything in your life to bring joy to your life? You answer. Then it says, have you done anything in your life to bring joys to others? So that means that it's just as important for you to bring joy to other people as it is for you to bring joy to yourself. So it starts with you. It starts with how you feel. We all go through our stuff. Adversity will knock you off your feet. That's what adversity do. But you have the option to get up. And then you also have the option to show other people how you got up. So you can inspire them, because some people fall down and they don't want to get up. Some people fall down and they don't know how to get up. So that's what we're here for.
Exactly.
I've always considered myself to be a lighthouse. Lighthouses don't move. But if any boat was in the vicinity of a lighthouse, it has direction on how to get to where it has to go. So that's what we are. So find your lighthouse, find your light, find your purpose, as Simone and Nina talked about. Don't let that adversity discourage you. Look that adversity in the face with a smile. My name is Kerrick Wise. I appreciate you for coming and watching this show with me and sharing this moment with us. You can check me out at Koolforlife.com. We will continue to play our part in changing the world. Y'all have a beautiful and productive night. We'll talk soon.